One of the other surprising things that came from your study, which actually I didn't know what to do with it. On one level, I wanted to say this is proving our thesis because many people indicated one of the reasons that they didn't come back was social. Now, you mentioned moving. I think we have a harder time the further that we do isolate ourselves online. We have less skill in making friendships. Relationships are much more are thrown away. But one of the things, or disposable, excuse me, one of the things though that you said, and you said here that with DMEs, the dechurched mainstream evangelicals have comparatively better mental health than those who attend church. So let me make sure I want everyone in the audience, because they're probably wondering what I just said there. Those who don't go to church, that were mainstream evangelicals, actually have reported better mental health from not being in church. What do we do with that? Is that church has just become dysfunctional and it's actually become more stressful for people rather than giving them the freedom and the joy that we're supposed to be giving them?
So that particular profile is definitely an outlier relative to their other dechurched evangelical peers. So the cultural Christian, ex-evangelical, and BIPOC mental health was not good, very not good, on things like anxiety, depression, loneliness, and suicidal thoughts. So the mainstream evangelicals who had dechurched that particular profile, which is 2.5 million people, they were kind of outliers on this. And oddly enough, they had a higher view of evangelicals than people who still went to an evangelical church on a weekly basis. So there's a lot of odd things about that particular group. They seem to actually really like evangelicals. They like the church. They seem to be doing pretty well for themselves. They seem to still have a surprisingly vibrant walk with Jesus, despite not being, in church here these last few years. I think that most of those people, they definitely seem to be Christians. I think most of those folks will get back in church. It doesn't take much. Anytime I've run across somebody who like clearly fits this profile, the simplest nudge of like, hey, would you come to church with me? It's, we can go grab lunch after, or I'm leading this thing. I want you to come and, hear me, speak at this or do this small group, or it's not good for you not to have a church home. Come on. Come join. I love my church. Come join me. That group is clearly the lowest hanging fruit. So, Tyler Vanderweel at Harvard has talked about this. He studied this more extensively than anybody on planet Earth. And that's the relationship between people who attend a house of worship on a weekly or greater basis than those who do not. And there are objective health gains on both the physical health and on the mental health front for people who, and this cuts, his research cuts across all religious traditions. Obviously, the sample size in the United States is predominantly, from Christian traditions. So I would say on the whole, the mental and physical health of those who are connected to a house of worship are objectively doing better than those who do not. It just so happened among the dechurched mainstream evangelicals that they seem to be doing pretty well for themselves and seem to be living pretty happy lives, even though they've been out of church for a few years.